And we are rolling on February 28th, 2017, here at UCLA, where we're hearing extemporaneous speeches 2. It's a beautiful sunny day. Sunshine is shining. And we are about to hear, oh, I love your writing, an extemporaneous speech from Brianna, who will address the question, will Betsy DeVos be a death knell to Common Core?
So if you were to type www.betsydevos.com, you could go to her fact and question page, which has 3 really interesting fact and questions. One talks about some really fun facts about her family life, how she's an entrepreneur in some form. Another mentions her initiatives as our new Secretary of Education, which is to focus on school vouchers. And the third question asks, does she support the Common Core, to which she says no. So a little bit more background info about Betsy DeVos. She was recently elected as our Secretary of Education, and coming from the Republican side of politics, Trump administration is really excited about Betsy DeVos. He has quoted, according to an article from Live, along the lines that she will bring a change to the administration and she'll break the bureaucracy that's holding families back and truly reforming our education system. And so that leads me to describe whether Betsy DeVos will bring a death knell to Common Core. And although she has maintained that she's against it, I do not believe Betsy DeVos will bring a death knell to Common Core because of 3 significant reasons. 1, she's supported education initiatives that initially fund Common Core in the past. 2, she is working on policy initiatives now and is not focusing on the Common Core itself, but is focusing on other school initiatives for the system. And finally, I believe even being Secretary of Education, she will not be truly effective. But before I go into these reasons, I want to describe to you a little bit more about Common Core itself. So, an article, a poll from the Gallup Public School Poll, the 47th annual, from Washington Post 2015, noted that 54% of families do not support Common Core, and it's actually not truly a favorited initiative in America. Common Core works to promote English and mathematics and a certain way of teaching. However, different political sides have tried to figure out whether or not they support Common Core. The thing is, though, a lot of Republican administrations say they are against Common Core, and Betsy DeVos maintains this, yet she's really not going to bring death to it either. And this brings me to my first reason why Betsy DeVos will not bring death to the Common Core. According to an article in January 2017 from Neil Blake of MLive, Betsy DeVos has supported the Success for Education Foundation by Jeb Bush, which initially is a foundation that works to support Common Core. She's donated thousands of dollars to it, and honestly, why would anyone donate thousands and hundreds of thousands of dollars to an organization if you don't believe in what it works for? And also in an article on February 2nd, 2017 from the Washington Post, it notes that she supports the Every Student Succeeds Act, which is an act that manages that the federal government should stay out of states' initiatives on education, and 48 out of 50 states are currently using Common Core, so although she says she's against it, she's supporting an act that works for Common Core. This brings me to my second reason why Betsy DeVos will not bring death to the Common Core, which is that her initiatives are focusing on other educational policies, and she hasn't really said anything about the subject itself. So, according to Allison Klein from Broad Education Week in January 31st, 2017, an article noted that Betsy DeVos is working to really maintain school vouchers, and she really wants to refix the charter system. She hasn't really mentioned a lot with public schools, and she's really not focusing on any initiatives for public schools itself. And another article from Breitbart News, even the alt-right kind of conservative newspaper, from Dr. Susan Berry, January 17th, 2017. Betsy DeVos is really not focusing on Common Core. The Republican-based newspaper was kind of criticizing her for not having enough initiatives on the subject area and questioning her even being elected. Which brings me to my third reason why she's not definitely out of Common Core, which is that I don't really think she'll even be a really great official elected, and really won't pursue initiatives well because of the controversy over being Secretary of Education. And Ms. Libby from Vox.com in a February 2nd, 2017 article notes that her nomination was kind of historic. It required Pence's vote for tie-breaking, and it really was difficult to see how it was so controversial, her election as our Secretary of Education. So Betsy DeVos was already starting off on a rocky beginning. And you can note that in a video on, she recently was judged by Elizabeth Warren. Before her nomination, you could have seen it through NBC, CNN. I personally watched it over C-SPAN. How she wasn't able to answer certain questions about her position itself. Someone asked her about guns in school, and she said it's great for protecting you against the grizzlies. She also didn't really understand the Disabilities Act, that is essential for a public school education and being able to have equal access for students with disabilities. So she's already beginning on a rocky start with certain initiatives that aren't supporting kind of public school systems, and therefore I don't even know how effective she would be if she was trying to go against or even for Common Core at all. So, in summary, I've shown you 3 reasons why Betsy DeVos will not be a death knell to Common Core. She won't be a death knell to Common Core because she initially has supported it through fundraising, because she's focusing on other initiatives as Secretary of Education, and finally, because she won't be an effective Secretary of Education in itself. There should be no doubt in this room that Betsy DeVos won't really cause any problems with Common Core, because in conclusion, she hasn't really mentioned much about this subject in general and isn't really working towards it. So finally, I want to bring up that website again. If you go online there, and in those 3 really interesting fact and questions, she says she's against Common Core, but that's it, and she's nothing further to say against it. And so, in brief, I really don't believe Common Core is in trouble, even with Betsy DeVos as our Secretary of Education. Thank you.
Thank you. Time?
6:58.
6:58. Okay. Let's start in the rear. Go way in the corner. Yeah, Mr. Chan. Hi,
I really
Josh.
appreciate the fluidity of your points. It was good walking. That's how you really rehearse. So, and the points, I really appreciate the citing and references that you made.
A little research, yes, thank you. Improvement.
Hi, my name's Serena.
Hi, Serena.
I felt like at times you seemed a little timid, kind of unconfident, but overall I thought it was a really good speech, and I agree that you really seemed really prepared.
Yeah, well, let's talk about that. Do you feel timid?
Not necessarily. Sometimes if I'm speaking, I think just communicating, sometimes I may not say what I'm trying to and kind of repeat my words.
Yeah.
But I feel I definitely improved from last speech because I wanted to really make sure I'm citing my information, and I really wanted to not start off with holding hands, like my hands like this.
Right.
I realized I got to by the end, but I also made sure to walk evenly to 3 sides. So those were my goals from last speech. It's in the
Nice, yeah. Well, those were all good goals that you accomplished, and I very much appreciate your hard work and your research. I'd like to see you wear a bungee cord in your hair and get your hair out of your face so we can see, or behind your ears or something, so we can see your face when you speak more clearly. Your introduction, you went to the fun fact thing and quoted that. I thought that was pretty, pretty exciting in a way because, you admit, she says she's against Common Core, and yet your whole thesis is she's not going to screw with it, but she's against it. So it was kind of a tricky thesis for you to pull off, but I think you did it. So that was good. I'm not sure I trust her. I'm not sure Common Core is safe. I'm not sure it should be safe, but because I'm not so sure it's so good, but nonetheless, that was fine. Your thesis was clear. Your preview was good and detailed, so we knew where you were going. I only would prefer the 1, 2, 3, not just listing them. You still need to work on understanding what a significant statement is. What's a significant statement?
It's kind of, it's the, I don't know, I thought it was something that kind of explains further in depth, maybe the certain subject you're talking about in order to provide more information, more background info that you can use in your supports.
No. Significant statement is significant to the audience.
Okay.
It's a way to sell it to them. And so you cited, the Gallup poll and stuff like that. And that would have been okay if you had said, now look, there's this groundswell of people that are against it, so if you believe in democracy or this sort of thing, or this is something when you have your own children or when you're asked to vote on Common Core, you'll be more informed. Something to make them interested in your speech and to listen up now. Okay, so if you think of not significant statement, but significant statement of my speech. My speech is significant to you because. So it's always to the audience, okay? Your first point was fine, I guess. It's all pretty circumstantial, but you made the case, and that was fine. Your second reason, I don't know. Was this the one on the? Was the first one on the tiebreaker? Or the second one was the tiebreaker.
That was the third one.
Third one was the tiebreaker. Yeah, I didn't think that's gonna hurt. She was confirmed, so she's in. So she's, whether that's gonna permanently scar her or not, I don't know. If any of you have not seen that Elizabeth Warren C-SPAN interview, it's pretty devastating. She looked pretty uninformed. I guess I was going to say stupid. Just really out to lunch, gosh. But she could be a quick learner, and she could get up to speed, and then again, maybe she won't be. I don't know. You tied back nicely. You said, don't clasp my hands, provide full citations, which you did nicely, and move properly, which you did. So and you used your full time, so you did a very nice job, Brianna, and you improved. Thank you. Okay, next. Thank you. Don't come any closer than that. green spot. Stay in the power stance, yeah. Okay, good. Okay, Erica stands before you managing attention. Close the computer, no computers open during class. Phones away, managing attention, communicating respect, finding friendly eyes near the front and the center. Say your name, feel the love you're going to time. Start your speech.
My name is Eric.
Hi, Eric.
Hi. Did you all know that in 2011, California passed and enacted legislation that would award all of its electoral vote to the winner of the national popular vote? It's true. It's enacted, and Jerry Brown signed it in 2011, according to the Sacramento Bee, written on December 30th, 2011. However, this only takes effect once enough states that total 270 electoral votes also pass such legislation. This is known as the National Popular Vote Interstate Compact, and my thesis is President Trump's victory will not encourage more states to adopt the National Popular Vote Interstate Compact because red states have benefited twice in the last 5 elections from the Electoral College, so they will not feel incentivized to sign on. The remaining blue states largely have conservative-controlled legislators that will block any legislation to have them sign on, and the swing states benefit massively from the outsized attention and influence that they currently get under the system. This is significant because after the election in 2000 and in 2016, states are scrambling to try to find new ways to award their electoral votes to give it to the winner of the popular vote, which in 2 instances in the last 5 elections has been Democrat. And if this does happen, campaigning in future elections, the results of these elections may be different. So first, let me give some background information because on the Electoral College. There's 538 total Electoral College votes, and they're given, 1 electoral vote is given for each House of Representative member and 1 for each senator. So in this instance, smaller states are given slightly more power than larger states on a per-person basis. And ultimately, the delegation of those electoral votes decides who to vote for. Sometimes there's state laws that mandates that they vote for the winner of the state's popular vote, and sometimes, like in Maine, they're awarded proportionally. And this is according to the National Archives, last updated in 2016. So now, how do you change this? You can possibly do a constitutional amendment, but that would require 2/3 of the House and 2/3 of the Senate to vote to change this, which is incredibly difficult. And according to McKellen's journal on November 28, 2016, this failed Congress in 2009, and the last time it passed a chamber was the House in 1969, where it was filibustered to death. So it's just unlikely to work. So what the states have figured out is a workaround. It's called the National Popular Vote Interstate Compact. This is the citations from the National Conference of State Legislators, last updated in 2017. This emerged in 2006 as a result of Al Gore's loss despite winning the popular vote, where states signed legislation that would award all of its electoral votes to the winner of the national popular vote. However, for this to take effect, enough states must sign on that 270 votes states that totaled 270 votes would vote in this manner. So California has signed on, and so has New York in 2014, but only 165 electoral votes have been added so far, so it has not taken effect yet. This is how they get around the constitutional amendment problem. So, my main argument number 1, and I'm on the right because I'm talking about red states now, on the right, is that red states don't want this. No one really knew who the Electoral College voted. They knew it kind of messed up the Democrats in 2000, but as recently as November 4th, 2016, people were proclaiming about Hillary Clinton's Midwest firewall, that no matter, even if she lost the national popular vote, her blue firewall would compel her to 271 votes. So no one was really sure who the Electoral College benefited, but this is according to Vox on November 4th, 2000, I think I said that. But with President Trump's victory just now, red states were already skeptical because of Al Gore's victory, but they are very unlikely to sign on at this point. Now I'm on the left because I'm talking about Democrats. My main point number 2 is that most of the big Democrat states have signed on, such as California, New York, and New Jersey. The remaining blue states either are very, very small, like Delaware with 3 electoral votes, and they might want a little more attention. or that several blue states such as Minnesota, Colorado, Virginia, and Nevada who voted blue have Republican-controlled legislators, or Nevada, they have a Republican governor who can veto any legislation to sign on. This is from Slate on November 10, 2016. And now I'm in the middle for my final point, swing states. According to Nate Silver, who wrote on April 17, 2014, the influx of media and political pandering every 4 years to the swing states, if the swing states were to enact this, they would be biting the hand that feeds them, so to speak. Now, as I referenced in my last speech, on October 21st, 2016, in Florida, $18.8 million was spent by Hillary Clinton and $10.4 million was spent by President Trump. Compared to California, where Hillary Clinton spent $570K and President Trump spent $0. And this $570K was probably spent by Hillary Clinton renting out George Clooney's house for the fundraiser. I'm not sure, but that's what I'm guessing. So there is a big outsized influence that these swing states have. President Trump can say, I'll bring back jobs to Indiana, a swing state, or I'll bring back jobs to Michigan, a swing state. He doesn't have to say that in California, and these states want that. And need I remind you, CBS News on November 24th, 2016, President Trump visited Maine 4 times. That just would not happen if they signed on to this agreement. So, in summary, it is unlikely that President Trump's victory will compel more states to sign on to the interstate agreement, because red states have benefited twice in the last 5 elections from the Electoral College. So even though that many of them were unsure if it benefited them or not, they're unlikely to change their minds after this election. The remaining blue states are either very small or they're controlled by a Republican branch in the state legislature or the governor, and the swing states currently get way outsized political attention and influence. So, to tie back, an author critical of the Electoral College in McKellen's Journal on November 28, 2016, says that America, we're probably stuck with the system, the Electoral College, unless the Republicans, for some reason, get stung by the same discrepancy in 2020 or 2024 as the Democrats were between when they win the popular vote but lose the Electoral College. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Lindsay.
Hi, Lindsay.
I think your speech was really good. It was funny how you said I'm on the right, on the left. It had a really good structure, and sort of you could trace the argument. I guess if you could add anything, maybe just some historical context around why the Electoral College exists could be helpful.
Yeah, reason for coming into existence. Some good stuff in the Federalist Papers on this. Yes, David.
Hi, I'm Emily,
Hi, Emily.
and I thought that you did really well. Like she said, it was like funny, and you made it like interesting to listen to something that could potentially be boring. I think if you could change anything, you knew your stuff, and I think that there's some times that you were like fumbling a little bit on your words, and you didn't have like. I feel like if you just kept talking and going, like you would have killed it anyway. Like you clearly knew what you were talking about, so not to second guess your knowledge on it. Things.
Okay, thank you.
Time was 6:58.
6:58, thank you. So you were right in time, Eric. Well, gosh, you started with what I would call an arresting fact, and I don't think many people did know that Jerry Brown signed into law the National Popular Vote Electoral College workaround, let's call it. So that was pretty interesting. I was hoping to hear something of a tie back to Jerry Brown or something along that line too. So maybe more people will join Jerry Brown.
Well, that's why I kind of said we're stuck with it.
Yeah,
Like the current system.
Stuck to the
I could
current
have said
system.
Jerry Brown too.
Jerry Brown, it would have given us a real sense that you've come the full circle, yeah. Thank you for referring to our president as President Trump. I appreciate that. your thesis was a little wordy, and so I'd like you to just cut that down and not get to the point quicker and number your. And I'm going to prove this in 3 ways, and so that it's a little easier to follow in your preview. The same thing that I said previously goes for you too about your significance statement. Sell a little bit more to the audience. So, do you want your vote to not count? You all, I'm assuming you all voted for Hillary in here, and and she won the popular vote, and it didn't count. Well, on the background, I agree. I think that we needed just a little bit more why this came into existence.
I did a lot of background, so
yeah,
I didn't know.
Yeah, and
I agree.
Yeah, and the concern, of course, is that the population is concentrated on the coasts, and we would end up with kind of an interesting configuration if it went that way. I'm glad that you did the cute little I'm walking to the right, to the left.
Well, I didn't walk last time, so that was one of my goals.
Yeah, and so you really called attention to it, and that was really nice. You did this half the time, and half the time you didn't do it, but as you know, I prefer the evidence to be introduced before you say the quote and not at the end, so we can judge it if contemporaneously or first and not at the end. Yeah. Your summary, your conclusion were all fine. I'm not sure I see anything inherently wrong with going to Florida or going to where he feels they can win.
It wasn't more of like a what should it be, it was more like a what would it be. Like more of an objective rather than like an academic approach.
Academic approach,
like,
okay.
Why, because obviously the Electoral College is a reason. But.
Yeah, okay. You said walk to a new spot, cite the dates for all the sources, and give relevant background. I think you did all of that. So that was a good job, and you had an excellent bibliography. So you did a nice job. Thank you very much. I guess we're out of time. So just to remind everybody, you all need to be ready next week.
Do you want us to email you about the brief, or can I just...
Yeah, email me about the brief, the wording of your brief, so we can agree on it and get it approved. Yeah.
I'm confused about how to structure that. I've already started, so I hope that I chose the right way to do it.
I sent you an email. About my again. So we had already done the Betsy topic. I signed up for it, and we asked if we could do it.
Wait, you already did it?
Yeah, well, we already went Extemp too. He's got his, and I forgot mine, but we were gonna do it.
Wait, for this exact topic?
No, ours was why she shouldn't be the Secretary of Education.
Okay.
But we signed up and we cleared it off with him. Is that fine?
Yeah, if you've already cleared it with him.
Question in regards to if we don't give like separated speech, we just
Do you still have the example sticky?
or
Yeah. Can I have the example
I don't think
sticky
you
back,
will
please?
No.
We should probably do it.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
That's better.
I did.
I accidentally started this midterm instead of and then his other class instead of that midterm, which was due last week or the week before. And I went back and forth because I was so confused about when each one was due. And then I finally was like, fine, I'll check the syllabus, and
No, when in
realized
doubt.
that I was dumb.
He's gonna tell you to email it.
But
Can I just run my
ended up being right now.
You can email it to me. I don't want to do it orally. Yeah.
Do you need me for anything, or am I reading them? I mean, I only have a few minutes anyway.
Yeah. Okay. Just let me.